evening, everyone. Thank you so much for your presence. And most of all, thank you so much for the privilege that you guys give to me in having your presence over here. It's always a pleasure. It's always an emotional thing to come over here and give the talk. Because this center has taught so much to myself. I have learned so much. I have accomplished so much that it's going to take years and years and years in repaying back to the Spiritism Center everything that I have learned over here. And as we start to realize and to analyze everything that we have learned and everything that we have seen and everything that we have done over here, it comes to a point that I ask it to myself, am I fulfilling my task? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? I'm doing what is supposed to be done. I'm accomplished what I'm supposed to be doing over here on earth. What Jesus or God expects from us? What is our role over here? What we should be doing? So when we ask, are we fulfilling our mission? First of all, this word mission takes us to as a kind of a scent or a very nice and a wonderful image, just like that. When we see the word mission, we think in something sacred or something that we are above our capabilities or our tasks or our forces and everything else. So when we say, are we fulfilling our mission? For me, at least, it gives the impression or the perception that we're becoming saints, that I have a very special mission, that I have something very special on this earth, that I'm the only one that I can accomplish, that I can do. I'm the chosen one by God or by Christ to do that. But when we refer on what just David told us about this gospel moment, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, can we accomplish that teaching? How far are we from that teaching? Just a phrase, not the entire New Testament, just that phrase. How far are we from that? I personally, I can say to all of you guys, I'm very far away from that. I try to control myself a lot, not to follow that instruction by the Mosaic law every day in our lives. Every time that we have a trouble or an issue or a struggle, that we are attacked by someone, we have the perception or we have the intention at the first moment to just reply back in the same way, to practice this, an eye for an eye and a tooth for the tooth. So if you are that far away from that, we are very far away to be a saint as well. We don't have that kind of special mission and special task that just God gave just to us because we are the best one to accomplish that. Far away from that. So that word mission, it doesn't go very well on what we're going to see or on what we're going to analyze tonight. I prefer much more the word role. Are we fulfilling our role? Because it brings more us towards the earthly thing or the earthly aspects of our lives. Bring us back into our reality. We are very far away from St. Francis or any other enlightened spirits that we look forward, that we look up to be someday just equal to that. We are very far away. So when we analyze and we realize that, we are doing the very first, or we are achieving the very first step that we needed to realize. How far we are that, and what we needed to do. How we can analyze and we can find out what is our role. So when we started to analyze, what am I doing here? What am I supposed to be doing? What is exactly God wants for me? What is He's expecting to me? How can I contribute to this world to become a better world? Because all of us, I'm sure, that we work to live this world on a better environment and in a better way that we found it to ourselves for our kids and grandkids, especially for the grandkids. For the grandkids, we do much more to let to them a much better world than we got for ourselves. But are we contributing for that? Are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? Most of us, we don't even know how to think or how to start to do this analysis. Where we go and where we can find what is our role and what we're doing over here. Well, Spiritism on this way help us a lot. Because Spiritism, it answers the great philosophical questions of humanity. The very first one who am I? The second one, where did I come from? And the third one, where do I go? We have thousands of writers, hundreds of thousands of books written about these philosophical questions. But we can find the very answers over here on the Spiritism just in 3 pages. The Spiritism teaches us that we are immortal spirits created by God. That we came from a stage of simplicity and ignorance, learning from our misconductors. And we are heading towards perfection, back to the Father. So when we analyze this, when we see these answers, we can go back to our questions and see, are we fulfilling our role? So our role over here is to become better. Because where do I go from now is I go towards perfection so I can find my way back to the Father. If we are doing that, if we are becoming better persons, then we are, of course, fulfilling our role and our mission on this earth. If you were staying on the same stage that we were 5, 10, or 15 years ago, maybe it's about time to review our behavior and values so we can reevaluate our lives and our tasks on this life. So, what is the purpose of the incarnation, as we can find on the Spiritism book, question 132? What is the purpose of the incarnation of the spirits? Allan Kardec asked it. And the information, the answers that we got from the enlightened spirits is, the law of God required us then to incarnate in order to reach perfection, giving the spirit a chance to fulfill his role and the work of creation. So the purpose of our incarnation is to reach perfection, and also to give to ourselves a chance to fulfill our role and the work of creation. So, can I create it just like God? Well, almost. I would say God can create things a little bit more perfect than we can. But yes, we are co-creators as just God. Because God created the entire universe and the planet Earth. But he's not creating the walls, he's not creating the buildings, he's not creating the technology. Technology is out there, but we have to study and we have to find, we have to discover, and we have to evolve and make that technology to progress. So every time that we find a new medicine, every time that we find a cure for an illness, every time that we find a new technology which is going to contribute for the welfare or for the wellness of our entire population, we are contributing to God's work. Because God himself is not coming to earth and teaching someone, oh, you should be doing this or you should be doing that. He's allowing us to find out by ourselves, by trials and acceptance, by errors and the right things. He's giving us the opportunity to find the answers by ourselves. So when we do that, we give much more value for the things that we are learning. So we are co-creators and we are contributing as well for this creation of this planet. So every little thing that we do towards a better world, it counts. To pick up a bottle of water, an empty bottle of water in the streets, it counts. Oh, but one bottle of water is not going to save the planet. No, it's going to not. But your act, in your example, will contribute to change somebody else's mind. Because make no mistake about that. Everybody is watching us. In every little thing that we do on our daily basis, on our daily activities, there is always someone looking up for us. We are a role model for someone. No matter how bad we think we are and how wrong we think we do the things, there is always someone looking up to us as a role model. And if we contribute with a small gesture, we are contributing for that person to change the way that he's facing things on earth as well. So if we are walking in the streets, walking in the mall, walking somewhere else, and we just pick up a bottle of water out of the floor and throw in the trash on the recycling can, we are teaching or we are showing someone that that gesture gesture. It's good for us. And someone just can follow our example. It can be someone that we know, it can be someone that we don't know, but our attitudes, our behavior, the things that we do, on how we do things, we're going to be contributing for that. So every little thing counts. A hug, a kiss, a nice word towards someone that is in need, picking up the bottle off the floor. It doesn't matter, but every little thing counts. Every little thing, it's a small step that we do towards perfection and helping others as well to find their ways back to the Christ or back to the Father, as we may say. Looking to ourselves, it's time that if we don't feel that we are fulfilling our role and we are not evolving that much as we would like to, it's about time to us to take a look at ourselves. How can we do that? Because if we are all here united tonight, that means that we are looking for something. We are looking for a blessing. We are looking for some guidance. We are looking for friends. We are looking for help. We are looking for a friend. We are looking for something. And the bottom of all of these, we are looking to become better. When we decided to look for God, no matter where we are, if you are in the Spiritist Center, in the church, in the synagogue, doesn't matter where, that means that we are not happy in the way that we are, and we are looking for something better and good, and much better than us, and then can help us to be a good person or a better person. If you were looking for God, as we are all of here doing that tonight, we are not satisfied on what we are and what we have done and what we have accomplished so far. So, what is the most effective and practical means of improving ourselves in this life and for resisting the draw of evil? That's the question on the Spiritist book, question 919. And the answer given by St. Augustine is, know thyself. If I wanted to become better, I got to find out which are the points in my life that I'm not so happy with. So, there is some practical questions, and Spiritism, it's very, very nice, at least for me, I see that very clear myself. But there is always something very practical in Spiritism. It's not just a bunch of words put together in a book that we read and we put aside, and then the following day we forgot everything that we have read. No, everything that we read, that we study, that we comprehend, that we try to put in practice in Spiritism, it's practical. It's something that is going to effectively help us. The only catch on that, that's no one is going to come and save us from our sins. We got to do ourselves. That's the catch. Oops. But this catch is very important. Why? Because when we do something for ourselves or by ourselves, we know how difficult it is. We know how much effort we put into it. We know how hard it was to give rid of some situation that we had in the past. So when we realize how hard it was, we're going to value our conquest much better. We're going to give the proper value for the little achievement that we got for ourselves, but we're going to give the value for that. If someone just comes over here and says, whoa, all of your sins are forgiven, you don't have to forget or to worry about anything else, everything has been forgiven, everything that we have done in the past, forget about it, you are saved. How much value are we giving to that? Easy come, easy go. But the hard things that we keep forever. The hard lessons, these are the ones that we learn and we keep it with us forever. So on these practical questions that I'm going to be asking now, please do not answer back to me. Okay, I don't want to know any answers for those questions. That's up to you guys. That's just a guidance that we can follow to make a small evaluation about ourselves. One of the very first questions that we have, am I calmer? Am I respecting more people? Please do not answer. Is there peace in my house? Do I contribute for that peace? Or am I the one who is always pushing for a fight, or because I want it to be the right one, I'm always pushing to be the one on top with the truth? Do I participate more in my religious activities? I'm not saying over here, I'm asking if you guys participate more in the Spiritist Center. It's not about Spiritism. It's about our inner transformation. And the inner transformation can be done in whatever place you guys like it. Right now, it happens to be in the Spiritist Center, but it can be in any other religious activities that anyone feels better with or feels more comfortable with. The point is that God is the same for all the religions. It's very exactly the same. The same God that we're going to find it, the Christians are going to find it, the Catholics are going to find it, the Jewish is going to find it, the Muslims we're going to find it, the same God. The God is the only one for each one of us. But do I participate more in my religious activities? Do I practice the gospel in my attitudes? Or I just read and keep the knowledge for myself? What I just read in the very first opportunity that I have to put in practice, I just forget it. I keep it doing the eye for an eye, the tooth for the tooth. Do I practice detachment? What I keep counting my earthly possessions. I'm taking very good care of my earthly possessions, and the only thing that I can care is my material things. Or am I preparing myself for the detachment? Because I don't know if you guys had thought about this before. Detachment is just like death. It's going to happen for everyone. Because everything that we have here, we're not taking back with us to the spiritual world. Detachment is something that we should not be wasting our time and super evaluating our material possessions, because we are not going to take that back with us. And sometimes, even all the earthly things that we have, we're going to leave a problem for our family because they are going to be fighting over our inheritance. So, am I practicing detachment right now? And that's another point also. If you are way too much attached to the material things, when we pass it away, we're going to have a big trouble to complete this transition, because we're going to be so attached to the things that we're leaving behind that we will not be able to make this transition as smoothly as it was supposed to be, because we are still very attached to the material things. Do I reconsider my disaffects and former enemies? Do I practice the forgiveness, as just David was saying us? Do I study the doctrine that I follow? One thing is to read and to know. The other thing is to study, as David was explaining to us a little earlier as well. Because when we just read the passage, a tooth for a tooth and an eye for an eye, it gives us the impression that we just have to let it go everything. That we don't have to be worried about ourselves and everything else. That's not the case. We got to protect ourselves. We got to practice the self-protection. That's important. It's in a way that we can keep our lives and our sanity most of the times. But if I just read the passage, that's the impression that I have. But if I study the passage, I'm learning a lot of other things that we never had thought before. We are learning the way that Christ thinks. We are learning the true message behind his words. And when we learn with the study, we kind of make an introspection with those information. And that information we're going to be part of our thoughts. Study, or to study our doctrine, will make our behavior and our attitudes in the future to be exactly just like Christ's. Because we don't have to think anymore about what is right and wrong. We already know it. And when we know it, we do it automatically. So, do I study the doctrine that I follow? Do I understand the pain better? Do I understand that pain is my best friend? Are you nuts? Best friend? How come pain can be your best friend? Pain is my best friend, at least for me. Brings me every day, or in every situation that I have a pain, that something is wrong with me and I need to change. Just like a stomach pain, a headache, a pain on your muscles, on your joints. It's a mechanism that the body has to tell us something is wrong with you. You are not eating healthy, or you are eating too much, or you are drinking too much, or you're partying too much, or you are exercising too much, or too little, or you're not doing the things that you were supposed to be doing, so every time that you do a little exercise, your joint hurts. That's the mechanism that body has to tell us something is wrong with your body. Please stop and take care of that. Because when we are feeling a stomach pain, for example, we don't go back to the table and have another dinner and another breakfast and another lunch and everything, and we start to keep eating all the time. We stop. We evaluate. We analyze what's right, what is wrong. So if we feel a moral pain, which is much more hurtful than a simple physical pain, when we have the moral pain, that's the way that the enlightened spirits, that our life has to tell us something is wrong with your behavior and your values. Please stop and think about it. Change it. So when we embrace pain and bring pain as our best friend inside our house, our inner house, our heart, we're going to be evaluating everything that we need. And we're going to start to make the changes. Pain is our best friend. Have I prayed more? Prayed. Not just our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, amen. That's not praying. Praying is taking some time to ourselves in our communication and conversation with God. Reflecting and counting our blessings. All of us, I'm sure, all of us, we have our problems. At home, at work, with our friends, with our enemies, with the family, within the family, outside of the family. And where we go, we like someone, we don't like someone. We hate our boss, we love our boss. It doesn't matter. We all have problems. But are we making the connection with God and connecting with Him and talking to Him and give thanks for the blessings that we have? Doesn't matter how much problems that we have and with whom we have problems. If you look into your life, we have much more blessings than we can count our problems. We just don't remember. But when we pray, real pray, deep pray, it doesn't have to be long pray. It has to be deep. We can count our blessings much more than we can count our problems. So it's the best way to look into pray on a different perspective, on a different way as well. Have my ideas evolved, or am I thinking exactly the same way that I used to think 10, 15 years ago? Well, I evolved myself because now I think in English. 15 years ago, I used to think just in Portuguese. So it's an involvement, it's a progress. See, we already learned something new and different on this life, and that's pretty good. We never know where we're going to be in the future, where we're going to learn, where we're going to need the second language. But have my ideas evolved? My values? Or is still attached to the same things that I used to think 15 years ago? Maybe it's about time to reevaluate all of these. Do I use my time better? Or I still complaining about, I don't have time to do this, I don't have time to do that, but I'm going to keep watching all the soap operas and everything and all the programs, the TV shows and everything else, but I don't have time to be helping others, or I don't have time to read a book, or I don't have time to do this. Am I using my time better or not? These are just a few questions that we can ask ourselves and reevaluate our values. Are we become better persons? Are we fulfilling our role on this life? Because according to the book Opinião Espírita, a Spiritist Opinion by André Luiz, do not be fooled. A day that was gone is another share of responsibility, another step towards the spiritual life, another opportunity, valued or lost. So, when we do all of these, we do our self-criticism. And this analytical work from the inner us, and it's something that we gotta do to find exactly what we need to change. It's a challenge for ourselves. That's not all of us which has the courage to face our own problems and our own little wrongdoings that we have done. But if we go to the Spiritism, or to the Gospel according to Spiritism, on the chapter 17, item 3, we have a passage over there which is called the good person. I'm not gonna bring the entire passage because it's a page and a half, but just a paragraph which I think it's gonna be very helpful, so we can compare ourselves after these analytical questions that we asked for ourselves, and we can compare with a description of the good person that the gospel brings to us, and then we can evaluate where I am, what I needed to improve. So the good person is one who complies with the laws of justice, love, and charity in their highest degree of purity. They do not harbor rancor, hate, nor yet desire vengeance. Instead, they follow the example of Jesus by forgiving and forgetting all offenses, only remembering the benefits received, because they know that we ourselves shall be forgiven only in as much as we are able to forgive others. I promise, I swear to God, I swear by my grandkids, I did not touch bases with David today. I didn't know what he was being talking about. And actually, just for the records, Simone and I decided about this talk Friday night. So there was not enough time for us to get together and plan everything that we'll be talking about. But the message that both of us are bringing today, it's about the same. Maybe because I myself need to learn a little bit more about that. But when we look into that, we can analyze, are we fulfilling our role? Our role is to make the most out of this life in search of our learning, our growth, and our evolution. We all have a life. The key is knowing how to live it. The key is knowing how to live it. How much focus we're going to give on the progress of our moral values, and how much focus we're going to be giving to our material values. Are the material values shall be forgiven or forgetting? No, at all. We need the matter because we still need the matter. We still need our body so we can accomplish those tasks and accomplish those missions that we have for ourselves. But the material world shall not be the most important part of our life. Must be just a part of our life. One of the several ambiences that we fight, that we learn, that we deal with the other things. To wrap up our talk tonight, how we should be living in order to be fulfilling our role to become a better person. Every life has its specific goals. The constructive action that appears to be made now should not be delayed. So we all have something to learn. Doesn't matter if it's a big step or a very small step, it doesn't matter. We always have something to do better in ourselves. Spiritism will guide us to reach our objectives, full of plenitude and peace when you face the determinism of evolution. And why Spiritism is going to help us? Because Spiritism is going to bring back to our minds that we didn't come to this earth just to suffer. Because we Spiritism, we love to say that. No, we are here to suffer. We are here to pay our debts from the past and everything. It's not true. It's not. We are here to be better. But how God gives us the opportunities to be better. Giving us the challenges. Because if we don't have challenges, we do improve. Look at one athlete. What is the only way this athlete will going to improve himself? If he has challenges. I'm a state champ. Now I want to be a national champ. Now I want to be a world champ. He faces challenges all the time so he can improve ourselves. But the athlete itself, he has his own motivation to do it. We, the normal ones, we have our normal lives. We like very much our comfort zone. If we don't have something pushing us or giving us a challenge, we don't leave our comfort zone. If we don't leave our comfort zone, we're not going to learn. So the challenges that we have, that's what is going to guide us and push us towards the new learnings and the new experiences that we need. Every moral transformation has to be deep, very inside ourselves. Apparent changes do not alter the spirit for better. If we just do something because somebody else is looking into that, don't even do it. Don't waste your time. The transformation has to come from our heart, because our heart will bring our real intentions and the purpose of it. I already said that I already said this here before. The form is nothing. The intention is everything. And to finalize, we need to know how to live. And the true spiritist can be recognized by their moral transformation and by the efforts they employ in order to dominate their bad instincts. The true spiritist is not the one which is recognized to leave this earth as perfect as someone can be. But the true spiritist can be recognized by their moral transformations and the efforts that we can do. It all depends on us, how strong we are, or how much efforts we are willing to give to some tasks or to some evolution. But at the end of the day, all of us, we have something to be better, and depending on how much effort we apply to that, we'll become a better person. And if by the end of the day or by the end of our life, we are better than when we came over here, then for sure we'll fulfill our role. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you for your time.